When I think of student loan debt, I think about all the young people who got scammed. I don't think they were scammed by predatory lenders. I don't think they were scammed by the college. I don't even think they were scammed by the curriculum that allowed them to take time out of their lives and go into debt for degrees that didn't get them a career. This is going to be really harsh. Um, I think the main scammer was the family and friends surrounding that kid that went off to college. This is what I mean. A lot of people in my age group who were going away to college would take out student loan debts and they would send money back home to their family members. Some of them will even take out loans, you know, so that they can be able to help out friends. And they didn't know any better. A lot of times when people talk about people being in student loan debt, they talking about like how they were out partying with all their college buddies. But not a lot of people are talking about kids who went off to college and they were like, being coached by their family back home that was telling them, hey, oh, you got cleared for like $5,000. Well, I only need like 200 to fix my car or whatever. Next thing you know, people back home need, they don't need to just get their car fixed. Now they got something going on with the light bill. Now they got something going on with rent, so on and so forth. And I even had to be confronted with this. I had to take a really hard look at myself when I was thinking about my student loan debt. And even before I got married, I talked to my husband about the fact that one of the main reasons why I was over the road trucking was because I wanted to make sure I didn't have any kind of debts hanging over me before I got married. And truck driving would have been a way to enable me to ensure that, when I did decide to start a family or anything like that, I wouldn't have something like that hanging over his head. Well, anyway, while I was on the road and trying to, get my student loan debt down, um, I was really struggling with my situation of how I got into student loan debt, which was I went into the military. And a lot of times the recruiters, they would be like, oh, if you join the military, you get your GI Bill, you won't have to pay you won't have to pay for college. That's not true, right? So a lot of times I was really, really bitter, thinking that, since I had served the country, why should I have to pay for anything? Which is crazy because, you kind of get brainwashed. Everybody's saying thank you for your service, but it's like, eventually I asked the civilian, why do you say thank you for your service? I was just curious. And one of them said, well, you served so I don't have to. And, I thought that was incredibly selfish, but it did register to me. And I was like, oh, duh. Like, they're not saying thank you for your service. Now my tax dollars is going to pay for your education. And that's when it hit me. Like, people who are like of college age, they still kind of think like children. And then college enables them to live, in my opinion, a pretty full life without having earned it. They come from having a safe haven, usually living like with their parents or grandparents or whatever their housing situation was when they were K through 12. And then they go somewhere where they get room and board and all these things and they don't have to pay for it because they can go to like this student aid office and run up a bunch of debts and pay for whatever it is that they want to pay for. No credit check required, right? And so I discovered this my senior year of college. I did not know. I thought you had to have a decent credit score. Now, I got the privilege of having joined the military after I got out of high school. So my college experience was not traditional. But, me having been in the service as well as, paying for my own apartment and stuff like that, I did not know that it was that easy to just pull out loans left and right. Now, that's me with a little bit of adult life experience. I could only imagine coming straight out of high school and people that were pushing me to go to college, you know, still having my contact information. And the mindset that I had when I was 18 years old was that I need to help people, you know, I need to send something back home. Sadly, that's a very common mindset for a lot of 18-year-olds. And I can see how a lot of people go into student loan debt, and oftentimes they think that getting a degree is going to pipeline them into a career. And that goes to show you the condition of our public school education system. But not to get onto that too much, my 2 cents on student loans. I was bitter personally about it until I spent some more time trucking over the road. And one thing that I figured out was nobody owes you anything. Those contracts that I signed to get into debt, I made the decision to get into debt. I was an adult, and, you know, it was difficult finishing my degree. But I could have eaten noodles just like the foreigners, you know. A lot of the foreign exchange students, I mean, they come over here and they find a way to stretch a dollar. But I wanted to go out with my friends, I wanted to be social, and I wanted to be comfortable. And I went into debt to do that. And let's say, even if I didn't, you know, enjoy, um, you know, being able to go into debt and send money to my family and stuff like that. I signed on the dotted line. And as for my recruiter lying to me and saying my school will be paid for, I kind of appreciate the fact that he lied to me. And that sounds crazy, but this is what I mean. It let me know that the military is the military. It's not your dad, it's not your mom. It's not their responsibility to take care of you. Just like how you signed a contract to get into student loan debt, you signed that contract to join the armed forces. And they're not there to give you an education. They're there for you to serve. So it took me a while to pull my head out of my butt to realize that I made a lot of decisions, a lot of long-term decisions. And although I made a lot of those decisions when I was only 18 years old, they're still my decisions, and I still have to suffer the consequences, just like how when I was disciplined, I got to reap benefits. But one thing I am grateful for about that GI Bill is that, unlike traditional students, I'm not looking at no $50,000, $80,000, $100,000, $200,000. I'm not looking at anything crazy. It won't take me that long to get rid of my student loan debts. And it's very easy for me to say, you know, hey, if you sign a dotted line, you got to pay it back. But that's just what it is. And a shout out to everybody who mad at Trump over this. I think it's crazy that they mad at Trump when Biden and the Democratic Party has been promising to help people who are in student loan debt for as long as I can remember. And the reality is, I don't think they're going to. And the truth is, we shouldn't bank on that. We should just, you know, take care of our responsibilities.